Okay, we're at the practice of a liturgy of commute on page 33 of our book. Think about your commute. You most likely go the same way every day or have a couple of routes you might use depending on the traffic. Now, think through the streets you take and the landmarks along the way. Do you pass a school, a particular store, or a certain street sign? Think about the topography, there we go, of your commute. Do you see water, mountains, or farmland on your commute? And are there train tracks you cross or a hill you go up or down? Is there a particular house you pass that is interesting or unique? Now, begin mentally taking note of what you remember along the way on your commute. Use these landmarks as prompts to enter into different types of prayer for your commute. For instance, from your house to the first landmark, spend time praising God for the blessing of a new workday. After you cross the second landmark, move into a time of offering that day to the Lord. At the third landmark, you may begin asking for God's help in your work. And then after passing landmark 4, begin praying for others in your life who need it. After passing the last landmark on your commute, use the rest of the time to ask God what He desires you to be attentive to at work that day. Perhaps part of your commute is spent on public transportation, and the noise of surroundings makes it difficult for you to sustain attention on interacting with God. In this situation, you might use the time to read or listen to scripture or a podcast, which with headphones, of course. Perhaps you can listen to music that focuses your time and attention on God's goodness and purpose. One of the tools we have found quite valuable for ourselves is Pray As You Go. It's a daily 10 to 15 minute podcast devotional that includes music, a scriptural reading, and a time of reflection. Or you can use the Lectio 365 app, which I love. How you craft your own liturgy of commute is up to you, but you may want to start with identifying the components of worship in which you want to engage: praising God, confessing sin, thanking God for His blessings, listening to scripture, reflecting on the attributes of God, interceding for others, requesting God's direction and guidance, and so on. Then consider the landmarks you encounter along your commute and connect each one to a different aspect of your desired liturgy. This will help your mind not to wander as you travel. After a time, you may have the liturgy memorized, but at the beginning, you may want to write down your intentions to help you remember it. Creating a new habit while commuting may seem clunky at first, but stick with it. Be creative about it. Experiment with it. If something isn't working, change it. Find what works for you in this liturgy so that your commute can be a tool God uses to transform you in your work. Remember, this is something you are practicing, not something to be perfected. This liturgy is about relationship with God, and you can view your commute as a tool to prompt an experience of conversation with God or with the Lord. One way to create a liturgy of commute is to write down a list of things you want to surrender to God, people whom you want to pray, and things for which you want to thank God. Take this list with you and start going through it as you pass your commute's landmarks. Over time, engaging in this practice consistently will direct your mind, heart, and body toward a posture of worship, surrender, and attention to your drive, ride, or walk. Okay, that's it for chapter 1. Working in the presence of God. The next section on page 36 will be our questions for reflection and discussion, which we'll talk about in our class on Tuesday. Looking forward to seeing you.